Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics.
Bad mail.
Now let's start the show.
Thank you.
What's the deal with video game prices? They're like kind of the same that they've always been, really. See, you're sitting out here and you're thinking, man, like, okay, look, okay, who? How do I even start? I didn't have it with the ground thing. I'm just worked up about this. Okay, I'm just worked up. I'm all amped in the pants. Okay, pants, pant. I'm fuck it, I'm not going to start over. We're just going to keep going. We didn't mess up because I didn't stop. I planned all this. It's all on the script. It's on the prompter behind you. You are the camera. It's behind. So, it was around then when we realized that maybe a mentally handicapped person should not have 10 years of YouTube content just up for anybody to see. No, so like video game prices, there's this lie that goes on where basically people had this misconception, I think, which I think was true for a while. Before, it was video games were a lot more expensive. Years ago, like 80s and 90s, video games were pretty expensive. Usually because a lot of them were on cartridges, they were proprietary. It was pretty costly to make the stuff for those to just be on, spend the specific cartridges and layouts and designs and things. It was expensive, so a lot of those would cost you, $100 or something, like just to get games, and that's like pre-inflation stuff. That's a lot of money to get games, right? And basically, we eventually got to the point where it was like the new game price kind of became like the normal became $60. And at this point, it was pretty good because $60 gets you a whole game, and games are newer and bigger and better than they've been before. Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So in that amount of time, yes, because there were a lot of those are being put out on like disc-based media that was mass produced for more than just specifically these systems, so they could be cheaper, and that's kind of how that kind of works. But then, things started creeping up again, and while video game prices have held for a long time at $60, what you get is not the same. Basically, it's shifted to the point where $60 was getting you a base game, right? Just the bare minimum. If you wanted to get the DLC, season passes, and microtransactions, the expansions, you wanted to get every piece of content a game has to offer for these games, you are going to be spending, $80, $100, anywhere up to like, it could even be as crazy as like $200 for some of these games with all the shit they put out there with it, right? Getting to prices that are basically the same as they used to be in the old days if you wanted to get a full game with all the content like you used to be able to get. And that's part of where it's kind of a misconception, kind of a lie to say this, because it's like, yes, you pay less to buy the base game now, but you don't get the entire game anymore. Even if the base game of something now would be, would be different, would be more than an old game as a full game. They're not trying to cram as much into there as they can to make it valuable. They're trying to spread it out as much as possible and make more money on it by doing that. And what's worse, though, is that now there's going to be running out of that excuse more as video game prices are starting to be closer to, well, now they're starting to pitch 70 as the new 60. And they're starting to, play with the idea of maybe games should be priced higher. And here's the thing. If a game costs $100 but is all of the everything for the game, that would be great. Problem also is that I don't have any faith that anybody's going to put out a game for $100 that is totally done. They're going to put out a game for $100 that has a roadmap of being done in like 5 years, right? Like, I want a full, complete game, not access to a project you're still fucking working on as you're working on it, but you're planned working on it, so it's not early access. They took the early access model and kind of just like, they want to be further along than just the early access, but then they release it and they give you the 1.0, and like when we get the finished thing that actually is going to be the really good thing we want and has everything in there we want in there, by then it'll be worth that, I guess. But I would want to get it at the end when it has all that stuff, You know what I mean? It's frustrating. And I don't think anybody will release a game completely anymore. It's just not a thing. Like indie devs, I guess will probably could still do that, or if it's like an old game that's a remake, then I could see that. But they're not going to do it with brand new games that are huge because they want the games out there and then get feedback and then do all this, that, and the other. And you can roadmap it so we can keep it going, keep people subscribing, and we're going to keep it. I don't know. And we're still going to keep working on it and have a really long development cycle. So part of the development cycle is as well it's out. I miss when games could just be made and finished, and then you bought the game that was finished instead of buying pieces of it and waiting for the rest of the pieces to slowly show up. Like, I'd rather just buy the entire puzzle rather than buying, like, I bought the border of the puzzle, and now I'm going to slowly get the inside pieces sent to me over time to finish the puzzle. Like, just give me the whole puzzle, you know? So, wow, what's the deal with video game prices? They're like, the price is right with the gram.